Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. As we approach the sacred month of Zulhijjah, let me take you through a journey of the history of Hajj and the essence of sacrifice. The annual Muslim pilgrimage of Hajj dates back to more than 4,000 years. That is from the period of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Hajj is the fifth pillar of Islam and the journey that every Muslim must embark on at least once in their lifetime, provided they are financially and physically able. The word Hajj literally means to set out for a place. Hajj and its rituals were first ordained by Allah at the time of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Prophet Ibrahim was one of the chosen prophets of Allah. He ranks among the 5 greatest prophets, ulul azam messengers, with Nuh, Musa, Isa and Muhammad, peace be upon them. His life was the journey of tests and sacrifices. Since early childhood, throughout the youth and even in old age. From a very tender age, he developed firm faith in Allah and stood by the pillar of Tawheed at all circumstances. He was abandoned by his father, his people, his nation. Yet, he was steadfast on his deen and submitted to Allah with all times of trials. He passed all tests with the complete submission to Allah. In reward, Allah appointed him as the Imam, the leader for the people. When his Lord said to him, "Submit," he said, "I have submitted myself to the Lord of the worlds." Allah honored Ibrahim alayhi salam by calling him Khaleel, the friend of Allah. And who can be better in religion than one who submits his face to Allah, and he is a muhsin and follows the religion of Ibrahim, Hanif. And Allah did take Ibrahim as a Khaleel, an intimate friend. He is described by Allah as being an ummah. Verily, Ibrahim was an ummah, obedient to Allah, Hanif, and he was not one of those who are al-mushrikoon. And we gave him good in this world and in the hereafter. He shall be of the righteous. The acts of Ibrahim alayhi salam and his wife Hajj alayhi salam impressed Allah to such an extent that He enlisted them as the rituals of Hajj and marked their identity and glorified His name in the world forever and is amongst the righteous in the hereafter. Ibrahim alayhi salam was given glad tidings to an offspring, Ismail alayhi salam. At the age of 86, when he prayed to his Lord, "My Lord, grant me from the righteous." He was put to test when Allah commanded him to leave his wife Hajra and infant son in the deserted valley in Mecca with just a handful of dates and some water. He invoked to Allah, "Our Lord, I have settled some of my descendants in an uncultivated valley near your sacred house. Our Lord, that they may establish prayer. So make hearts among the people inclined towards them and provide them from the fruits that they might be grateful." When they were out of water, Ismail started crying, and Hajra was running between 2 hills of Safa and Marwa in search of water and help. Allah sent Jibreel alayhi salam at the site of Zamzam, and water gushed out with a strike of his wing. When Ismail reached the age of 12 or 13, Prophet Ibrahim dreamt thrice of slaughtering his son. It was a tremendous trial indeed. His son responded by saying, "O my father, do as what you are commanded. You will find me, if Allah wills, of the patient." When both the father and son set out with utmost steadfastness to fulfill this trial, Allah sent a ram from the Jannah to replace Ismail. This act of sacrifice has been established as a ritual of Hajj and will last up to the day of resurrection, thereby keeping alive the memory of Ibrahim alayhi salam, unparalleled faithfulness and devotion to Allah's command. Prophet Ibrahim was entrusted to build the Kaabah with his son Ismail. Allah described the Kaabah and its building as, "And remember when we showed Ibrahim the site of the sacred house, saying, associate not anything in worship with me, and purify my house for those who circumambulate it," that is, perform tawaf, "and those who stand up for prayer, and those who bow down and make prostration." Prophet Ibrahim's supplications, which was answered 2500 years later, when Muhammad ibn Abdullah descended from the progeny of Ismail alayhi salam, where he prayed to Allah, "Our Lord, send amongst them a messenger of their own, who shall recite unto them your verses and instruct them in the book and wisdom and purify them. Verily, you are almighty and wise." Allah greatly appreciated Ibrahim's spirit of sacrifice and his complete submission to Allah. Allah wants such loyalty and submission from each of his servants, and obedience which is unconditional before any commandment of Allah. That is this essence of sacrifice. When the command of Allah comes, we should not hesitate it to make any kind of sacrifice for Islam. As Allah commands in Quran, say, "Verily my prayer, my sacrifice, my living and my dying are for Allah, the Lord of the worlds." Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.